In this video, I'm bringing you kind of a spicy one today, boys. I am going to be answering the question that I get the most, and that is, what was my original size?
So, how big was it?
How much have I gained, and how did I do it?
How did he do it?
I literally get this question asked like the most in all like in Reddit, in the channels, and I've answered this many times in many places, including Hink Stream and like other places.
I told you already.
But today I'm going to make a short video that's going to tell you exactly how much I started with, what happened, how the Peyronies affect my size,
It shrinks?
and what I'm working with now.
Little big.
And sort of my goals as well. I'll talk a little bit about that. I'll also talk a little bit about how I got here and talk about some of my plans moving forward. It's going to be a very short but sweet video, so let's get started. First, let me start with what was my original size. I never used to worry about my pea size. This is something like we used to talk back in high school, and we used to like talk about like, oh, what's your size? Oh, my size is this, my size and that.
Mine was bigger.
I never really gave it two thoughts about anything. I never really cared, to be quite honest. But I did, like when we were in high school, I remember, and we were talking about this, and I did go home that day and I measured it, and it measured like 7 inches essentially. So I was originally 7 inches. I'm sorry, I don't really recall whether I pressed into it. I was in high school. I'm pretty sure I just measured it kind of like on the side with a ruler, and that was it. I was like, okay, 7 inches is fine. I didn't really give it much thought beyond that. One thing, I never really measured my girth, but it was like decent girth. It wasn't nothing crazy. Looking back at old pictures, if I were to estimate, it would be maybe like around 5.5, I would say, in girth, like at the base. And I had a super straight. It was super straight and like, well, I guess basic to me. I was like straight and normal, uncircumcised. So that was my starting size. I never really like thought about it too much. So, but that was like I never really measured the girth, but that was just like an estimate. So basically, yeah, that was super short. Like to me, I thought it was like a little bit above average. I always thought, and I still kind of think that the average, at least in the sexual marketplace, is around 6. I look at dicks, but like in the context of like Peyronies or getting bigger or whatever, or like the porn stars or whatever. I don't know what the actual average. This is probably something a girl can actually answer that like has seen all of these, so I don't know. I always thought it was like basically average or normal. I did remember hooking up with some girls back in the day that would tell me like, oh, it's big or whatever, but I never really like thought about it or care about it. So anyway, so there you go. So my starting size was essentially 7 inches length. I'm gonna say like bone press, because I'm starting to think that I like pushed on it because I was like on the side. So if you measure on the side and like a bone press, I think roughly the same. So I'm gonna say 7 inches bone press by 5.5 inches in girth. So that was my starting size. Talk a little bit more about my injury and what happened when I developed Peyronies. So gosh, I was like 33, I believe. So this was a few years ago. I was having like rough anal sex with my ex-wife at that point, and I basically broke my dick. So I felt like some kind of like a sharp, dull pain, and the erection went away right away, and then I was like basically developed Peyronies from that. So I injured my dick, and I essentially like lost some size. So that's when I first really started to measure. So I started measuring the length, not really the girth again, because I didn't really know much about Peyronies. I didn't know that you could lose girth from Peyronie. I didn't know anything about it. I thought it was just like curvature and all this stuff. So that's when I started measuring, and again, it was like 7 inches bone press. And I believe I have some pictures of this. I got to go back. But I didn't think too much about it. I was like, okay, whatever. Hopefully everything goes back to normal. I'll give it some time. But sort of as things went on and I started to get my erections back, I noticed some like loss in size, right? So first it was curving up, and then also curving to the left, and I basically measured myself, and it went down to 6.5. Same measurement from the side, so same way that I had measured it before, and I had lost essentially a half an inch from the Peyronies. Basically I went down to 6.5, which I guess is not that bad, but to me, your own body, and you can see the visual differences. I also started noticing some changes in girth, but I was like deathly afraid of a pump. So I'll tell you a little bit more about how I started treating it. But essentially with Peyronie, so I started with a 7 by 5.5. And then with Peyronies, I went down to 6.5, so I lost half an inch. Girth, it's hard to tell. Maybe I went down to like 5.2, something like that. Maybe closer to 5, I would say. I don't know. It's really hard to say. I don't have good records from that, but it does look, at least from the pictures, noticeably thinner than it was before, which again, I think a lot of guys would be happy with. I didn't care too much about the girth. I didn't know how important it was, so So basically I started treating it. That basically I'll talk about how I treated it. Essentially, I started to do more research into what Peyronie's was, going into the Peyronie. So there's like the Peyronie'sforums.net, I believe. I'll link it down below. Super helpful, much better than like the Reddit Peyronie's. The Reddit Peyronie's is garbage. By the way, I'm banned there for some reason. Like I'm literally one of the I guess more independent YouTube channels about treating my Peyronie's, how I resolved it and all that stuff. But they banned me for some reason because I think I was like linking some of my YouTube videos, which that's where I put all my information. So a lot of the times it's a lot easier to just like, hey, watch this video where I talk about my history and blah blah blah, instead of like writing a super big thread. But anyways, they banned me, and the type of advice that they give in that forum is complete garbage in the Reddit forum. So in the Peyronie's Reddit forum. Anyway, so check out the Peyronie's forum. It's much better. But essentially I started to learn about attraction, and I bought my first advice, which was the Restorix. I bought it, I believe it was, I want to say 3 months into my onset of the disease of Peyronie's, and I started using it diligently. So I started using it for 3 months and then 6 months, which is like the recommended program. If you want to learn more about the Restorix program, check out this video where I talk about how you can use the Restorix program on a regular 9 Peyronie's penis and you actually get good results. You can look at that study and all that good stuff. So in any case, thanks to the initial, I believe it was like by my month 4, I had already regained the half an inch that I had lost, and I was ecstatic. I was happy. I was like, oh hell, I didn't really care too much. I didn't really care too much about the girth at that point. The curvature, the lateral curvature, the curvature to the side was largely resolved, and the curvature going upwards had pretty much stopped and was very minimal. I want to say maybe like 5 to 10 degrees. I have some pictures, but I'm going off my memory. So I regained the half an inch in about month 4. I kept doing it, and I was starting to gain a little bit more. But by this point, I was like starting to go knee deep into the getting like in the PE community, the PP enlargement community, and started to really like traction, because I saw that traction really helped. So I'm one of those persons where I'm like, if I can do something about it, I'm going to do something about it. Like I'm going to work my ass off to fix it. And I was super motivated, not only to fix it. At this point, like me and my ex-wife were having a lot of troubles, and I was like, I know I'm going to end up leaving, and I want to rebuild my dick much better, much longer, and all this stuff. So I also started pumping around that time. I think the first time I used to pump was like pretty much like 6 months into the disease, which is not good. You should start pumping right away. That was like one of my biggest regret, is that I didn't start traction and pumping way sooner. So that's when I basically switched to the Totalman 2.0. This is a Totalman 2.0 extender. It should go in a history museum. I think in the PE history museum. It's still great. It's amazing. It kind of like set the standard for a lot of other things. I would still use this if the new modern extenders didn't exist. This is what I would use. I got the ultimate package from Totalman, so I started messing around with clamping, with weight hanging, and pulleys and all this stuff. And this is where I started doing other things like the MSO and just about everything under the box, under the sun for PE. But really, the thing that gained me, basically now I was back to 7 inches with the Restorix, and then I started using this bad boy, and I was super motivated. I was working from home, and I basically had an office, and I would literally like lay on this little like mat that was like a hard mat, like to do like gymnastics and stuff. And I would essentially sit on that and use this extender for about 8 hours a day. Like literally, I did that for about 6 months. Literally, like every day, I might take a day off here and there. And over the course of about those 6 months, I gained an inch. Basically, I was able to gain a little bit. I was like a little bit under an inch, like a little bit under 8 inches at that point in time. After 6 months of consistent use, and basically that after a while, I started pumping, and that's really what's helped me regain some of the girth. I always neglected pumping for a very long time. It wasn't until very recently that I started pumping again. Recently, I've been doing a lot of pumping. My latest measurements, which has been a few months ago, is 6 inches in the girth, which tapers off to the top right below the glans, which is around 5.5 inches. So because it's in the distal part, and check out the Clona Willy one where I talk about more like my status and how does it look, how does the penis look, and my goals and stuff like that. But I've been working a lot on like making it 6 inches even of girth, which I think is just, now I'm like, I think I have mental issues now, because like I think that's just normal, like not normal now, right? Like I think like 8x6, I guess, because now I'm used to it, it's normal. But I'm trying to get to 6.5 inches of even girth. That's my next goal. and I want to get to my ultimate moonshot goal is 9 inches on non-bone press. My next goal is actually like 8 inches non-bone press. So that's 8 inches bone press where I am now, by 6 inches base girth. So to recap, I started off with 7 inches by like 5.5. I lost an inch in length. I don't know how much I lost in girth, but after Peyronie's, it was like 6.5 length and approximately like 5.2 in girth. And after years of traction, I really fell off after a while because I was like dating. I was pretty happy with my size. I am pretty happy with my size. Like if I stop all PE, I'm pretty happy. And where I am now is essentially 8 inches bone press by 6 inches base girth. I'm working on that. So check out the video where I talk about my resolutions, where I talk about my New Year's resolution and my goals. But essentially, again, my goals is my next goal is 8 inches non-bone press by 6 inches even girth, and my moonshot goal is 9 inches non-bone press by 7 inches girth, which is insane. It's insane. That is my goal. But one of the problems is that it's not that I've lost a lot of the motivation. I'm just a lot busier these days, and well, I guess I have lost some of the motivation. Like once you gain after an inch, and you literally have like a porn star D size. Like I don't know, like you lose a lot of the motivation. So, but this channel has kept me very motivated, and I think eventually I will reach my goal. So I will have another video where I'm going to talk about my mid-year review, where I'm going to get my latest stats. So I'm going to remeasure and put that up there, and I'll talk a little bit what my goals are. But basically, I'm going to go back into traction, and I'll keep pumping, but I might pump a little bit less just to put in more room for traction again to hit my length goal. So just to recap, to answer your question, if you've asked me this and I sent you this video, I started off by 7 by 5.5, lost half an inch in length and about half an inch in girth, and now I'm 8 by 6 bone press. And that's basically it to answer your question. So with that being said, let me move on to my final thoughts. And there you go. Another spicy, but not that spicy, but informative video. Again, I get asked this question a lot. I also get asked a lot about how has my sex life changed with all this size changes. Now you got to remember though that I was married for a long time with the same dick size. When I injured my dick, me and my wife were already having problems and we weren't even having sex at that time. So during my lengthening process, I was not having sex. This is why I had all the fucking time in the world to basically work on it. I didn't have a sex life, which basically now I have a sex life and a girlfriend and all that, and that's why it makes it a little bit tougher to work on my D. So I literally had to sacrifice about a year of my life to be able to gain that inch. Even now I'm sacrificing a lot of things, and you gotta want it real bad. You gotta want it bad enough if you want to make those gains. Not something that's like not just anyone can do it, like the gym or anything like that. Like anything in life, if you want it bad enough, you'll work for it. So after I injured it, I wanted to fix it, and then I wanted it bad enough, and now I don't want it bad enough anymore, where like I don't want those gains bad enough. But hopefully I can change my mindset. So in any case, I will make a video because like I did gain a lot of my girth back while I was dating. So remember, I was like down to like 5 inches of girth, which is, I guess, well, for me it was bad. Like I don't want to say that's a bad girth, it's just not what I was used to. And basically I'm now to 6. So what did I take? It was basically a lot of pumping. I did check out this video where other things that I have been trying, which is like jelking, clamping, and all that good stuff. But like at the end of the day, what really got me back was pumping, really diligent every single day, higher pressures up to like 10 inches of mercury. Like don't start there. Like you got to start lower. I've been doing this for years. I'm going to come out with a pumping routine where I talk about like what I do for pumping, for recovery, girth recovery, for girth gains, and for sex. So I'll put that out. I'm going to have a newbie routine 2.0 where I talk about, I basically broken down the science and made it easier. But at the end of the day, more time under tension, the better. Forget what other people say. Less is not more. Like more is more when it comes to extending it. And I saw this with my own eyes when I was using this extender for literally for like 8 hours a day. That's when I literally gained like an inch in like 6 months. After that, like I've been doing it here and there, like an hour or more, or an hour and a half every day. And sure, you'll gain, especially if you're a newbie. But after that, like I think you have to ramp up the time. So in any case, I will make that newbie routine 2.0, the pumping guide. I also have the Elite Male Pro. I have some sex toys that I'll be reviewing, and I have the Epic Cups, some tutorials for the Epic and Best extender. So I have a lot of fire content. So if you want to get notified, hit that like button, hit that subscription, hit those notifications, and that supports me. It's a small thing for you, but for me, it's a big thing. It helps me going. It helps keep the channel going. Check out these other videos which may be relevant to you, and I'll see you next time. Peace.